everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Overcrank. Today, it's just me and Colden. We have no special guests today, but
I'm not special anymore, Todd. Wow. Okay. I used to be a special guest. Now I'm just.
You're just my friend now. Sorry.
I know. I know. I'm almost where I feel like I could start the Overcrank. Like I could do the intro for you. At any point, you need to tap me in. I'm here for it, man.
I love it. Yes, we'll do that. Yeah, like you're just part of the crew now. You know, we have special guests.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
on the show.
We can bring
it's different. In a different spot now. And we're gonna have some fun today because this is a different take. It's still the same arena, but things blew up. I think it's just over the weekend. Is that right, Colin? With these 8 companies, I didn't.
Yeah, they did me a huge disservice by dropping this news like Friday afternoon. If anybody's been following this, I got the notification on my phone like Friday afternoon that the FCC just like put out these $25,000 bans on all these potential shell companies, and I was like, y'all are gonna make me work through the weekend for this. But yeah, so
for no money,
for no money, just for I guess fun. But yeah, yes. So they dropped that. The FCC just announced it on July 10th, and here we are on the 12th. So it's not been a lot of days.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we all called this though.
Well, I know, but there were peripheral collateral damage there that I wasn't familiar with. I figured some of those companies were going to be a problem. These other ones, I didn't. I mean, let's face it. DJI makes phenomenal tech. Albeit it's probably because they're subsidized by the Chinese government.
That helps.
So
that helps.
they make phenomenal tech. And so obviously, sure, if I'm a small drone manufacturer, I want some of that tech to implement in my products. The company that makes Skyrover, though, was in the list, right?
Yeah, so Skyrover wasn't, but the two companies, Skyrover wasn't.
Oh, that's right.
The two companies that supply them with their drone mechanics, their parts, those two were on the list. Yeah.
And of course, we'll get to it, but of course, Xtra is on the list.
Yep.
Which no big shocker there. But yeah, I go back to what can you do you have a handy? What are the 8 companies?
Oh man, give me 1 second. I can pull that up. My notes from this from this last weekend. But
while
the main two, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, while you're pulling it up, I think my biggest, I get this, I understand what's going on, but at the same time, I'm concerned. The more this happens, the way less options creators here in the US are going to have for anything. And the only options are going to be outlandishly expensive. I haven't seen anybody say like, oh, well, we can also make a wonderful drone that's easy to fly for $600. That's not happening that I've seen in any US company.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get that like GoPro price bump of US based companies because it's just flat out more expensive to produce things here. Okay, so here's your list. Xtra Technology was obviously the top one. WaveGo Tech and SZ No Act. Those were the two that are associated with Skyrover.
Yep.
Spatial Hover, Sky High Tech, Lino Dynamics, Fiaxo. These are like your Go Act Now or whatever. Like I don't know what these
Act to Spark.
Act to Spark, and Cogito Tech Company Limited. So those were the 8 that were fined. They're all the thought process behind. Basically, the fines were just, hey, we sent you guys some questions and wanted to know where your technologies come from and make sure it's not on our covered list. And you guys never got back to us. So now here's a fine. That's what it was for. They have until July 20th to respond to the FCC before the FCC can make new decisions. But jumping back to what you said, yeah, any of these companies that they end up banning or that we don't get to purchase here in the States, obviously it doesn't matter if you live in Canada, Europe, or Asia, but in the States here, it's a real, like, I was going back and forth with some commenters on my video that I put out, and I remember the heyday of DJI drones, right in between the Phantom line and the Mavic line, where I just felt like it was so exciting. We were getting like real upgrades every season. Every new drone was like, wow, can you imagine we can do this now? Because before that, it was like you rent out a helicopter to get aerial shots, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like what you said is we don't have any new technology. Maybe anti-gravity can do us some favors there. You know, that's the Insta360 incubated project. I struggle to say it's Insta360's company because they're very clear to say it's a project incubated by Insta360, which seems similar language to this Xtra stuff. But they're all okay. The company seems cleared on all the FCC lists. So maybe they're an answer, but they've also proved that they're fine charging plenty of money. Like the Luna Ultra is significantly more expensive than what the DJI Pocket 4P and the Xtra Muse 2 Pro were launching at. So they're fine charging us more. That bump of $100,
$200 doesn't freak me out. My concern is an American-based company. The first thing my concern is, if you're an American-based company, you know what you want. You want the military contract, or you want the government contract for safety. Like now we're making $10,000, $20,000 drones. And I'm sorry, Joe Creator on YouTube, I really don't care about selling you $1,000 drone. You know, the same thing that's happening in the AI space with our memory cards. You know, everybody's like, well, the data centers, I'm going to fulfill that order. We'll see if we get back to you. I feel like that same thing. I feel like we're facing that same problem when it comes to drones. Like, yes, there are U.S. manufacturers, and yes, but are they even going to try? Because the money is in the war machine, and there's plenty of war happening. So that's the biggest.
I fully agree with you, and there are obviously use cases that are way above my pay grade militarily, but it's also like when we say, and like fair transparency, I guess if we need to, Todd, both you and I are based very much in the U.S. So I've read those comments that are like, this only matters at the U.S. Like, yes, but it matters deeply to you and I, at least, that are having this conversation right now.
Yes, it matters a lot, and part of it. I was really happy because I did some research after you sent that to see, and again, not like I'm not sponsored, and I haven't suddenly turned into a complete Insta360 fanboy, but I was pleased to see that at least they are not in any issues right now at all as a company, and they are releasing their own little drone to compete with the Neo now. I don't know if you saw it, tiny little box thing.
I don't know if I saw that one.
It's pretty cool.
Is it Insta360 or is it?
It's Insta360.
Oh, cool.
No, it's Insta360, and I actually saw it on the same site, which we're going to talk about, this Luna Pro. I scrolled down, and I was like, oh, this is cool. It's the Insta360 Pocket drone. Patent images and prototype revealed. I'll put it up on the screen as what I'm looking at here.
Nice.
But they are in the space now. So that could be good because, like you said, the anti-gravity is interesting. I was fascinated by that one because I'm a very tentative drone flyer. I don't know. My buddy he'll crash it. He has got no problem. He'll fly through anything and all right, let's go. And I have the weirdest, I have a very bad fear of heights. Right? I'll get to how this translates. I have a very bad fear of heights. Like I don't like being on a 10-foot ladder. So when I'm flying a drone, I have this same like visceral reaction sometimes, like, oh gosh, it's going to fall. I'm going to crash. It doesn't make any sense. It's totally irrational, but for some reason it happens. So I'm a very tentative flyer. And so I was like, the 360 one seems interesting because all I have to worry about is flying, and I will reframe everything later. Yeah. So that one did seem interesting. I love that
idea. And I'm with you. To me, like I've got GPS drones, right? Those are easier to fly. I'm not a great pilot by any means, but like those are not scary to me. It's the FPV drones that are way more impressive, and I don't trust myself enough to fly those. But the anti-gravity one, the 360, like you can kind of get the FPV like world by reframing it, and you can just fly a normal GPS style drone, which I think is really cool. I have not bought it yet. It's a little too expensive for me to take a leap on it, but it looks cool.
Oh, yeah, it does. I'll tell you the one thing I've been thinking about doing, because again, my buddy flies the FPV like a champ. He was ripping through a greenhouse through between plants and around. And it was awesome. I might get the goggles and the controller for the Neo too, and just so I can play with it, because that's not expensive.
Yeah.
Kind of as a way to dip your toes in the water, because I love the idea of it. Like you said.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I think I've mentioned
I've
this
thought about it.
I thought I've mentioned it on another stream. Like I feel like I would be like feeling like Luke Skywalker flying through the forest like that. As a little kid, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to do that.
Seriously, it's such a cool experience. Especially, I've never flown with the goggles, so if you get them, you'll have to tell me how they are. But that would incur me another expense. So our friendship is expensive. Between me sending you Luna links and you sending me drone links, yeah, it's going to get expensive.
Sorry about that, Colton. But my buddy let me experiment with it. What I did find is I had to sit down because I body Englished it too much. Like I'm not used to it, and it's awesome. I was like, this is so cool. I want to play with this. I want to get it so my dad can do it. I think my dad would absolutely love it, and I want to get that as an experience for him.
They're cool. All right, let's get back to this.
Let's get back to
DJI
this
DJI thing, since we sidetracked over to drones, but that is DJI's world, right?
That is their world. So what's interesting about all of it is now the DJI space. What is this going to do to Muse now? Like, I think they can't sell their product, the 4P or 4. The two. In the United States, ostensibly for any time immediately now.
Well, okay, so here's what I know. I mean, I probably don't know anything, but let me at least explain where my research has gone.
Okay.
Nothing like this fine is literally just a fine that said, hey, you didn't answer our question, so here's a fine. You have until the 20th to answer our questions.
Okay.
They haven't banned anything.
Okay.
So, but there were kind of two news stories that broke at the same time. One was that fine, which is literally just like, it's a lot of money, but it's also not a like stop a company in its tracks money. It's not stop the CCP in its tracks money.
Yeah, but if they don't feel like fulfilling the obligation because they can't give the proper answer,
right,
that's going to escalate.
What it did was the FCC saying, hey, now you have a deadline to answer us, and we will make decisions. So before, we all kind of did a wink, wink, nod, nod. Sure, these are different companies. Like we all kind of said that. Even the people you've had on this show that have asked that question, point blank, are you guys related? And they say, well, they didn't really give me an answer, but they said they're licensing the technology, whatever. Now the FCC, like it wasn't on the radar before, now it's on the radar. So the interesting thing is that this will develop, like whatever we don't know now, we will know more by the 20th of July. The second news story that broke that I didn't even really cover because I couldn't substantiate it more than just a couple of Twitter posts, but Xtra Muse is now delayed until Q3 is what kind of the Twitter sphere had been saying. I couldn't substantiate that, and it felt like just kind of one more thing to throw into an FCC video. But you've got them already saying, hey, we've got to push this launch back again more, and you've got this FCC thing going on. And the people that I know that I've talked to that have this camera or have been testing it said, dude, it's full of bugs. It crashes all the time. It made me go, wow, we've been hard on the Insta360 for being a half-baked product when they launched it. But this thing isn't launched, and it's still probably weeks, if not months away from being at a place where they could launch it and not get serious backlash. So they're in a little bit of trouble with two timelines that are kind of closing in on them very quickly.
Well, and this just goes back to, I'm sounding like a broken record, but I just feel like while Insta360 has bugs and it's still but they're working it out daily, in the firmware updates. Yep. They pushed them to an early release. They weren't ready for this camera release. And the only reason it happened is because Insta came out and they're like, uh-oh, we've got to respond or we're going to lose any potential market share. Even in Asia, where it's like they had to get it out just because, well, Insta's in Asia as well. So that fight is real time all around the world. In the United States, it's kind of like not a fight, unfortunately, because like
Right.
we have one option.
Unfortunately, right now, you're right. We really just have this. Well, you've got, I mean, I guess you've got like resells of the Pocket 3 and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, I still don't see, like, you know, I've been pretty open and honest. I didn't find enough of a reason to want to upgrade from my Pocket 3. You guys,
Yeah.
everybody kept the 1-inch sensor, which like I would think we could do a little more. Insta360 at least went to 8K, which we talked last week. Do you really need 8K for anything? But at least they were kind of pushing it. This idea of like, we kept the same sensor, we kept everything in it. To me, the bigger question is like, DJI, you've had 3 years with the Pocket 3 and we like Insta360 caught you with your pants down. Like, how did you not have a product for 3 years?
Well, that's a good point. I think the thing is, there may have been a double factor there. Like this Pocket 3 did so well, right? That it was just like, became like a machine of its own. Like it eclipsed the other two. There was a Pocket and a Pocket 2, but the 3 really hit. And, you know, that golden goose thing, right? The golden, you know, like, hey, let's just keep making that camera because it sells like hotcakes. And there is something to be said. I think we talk about this is that, and I've seen it, you know, even in the Luna, like when it's a small form factor and you're demanding of that and you're holding your hand, everything's starting to get hot.
Yep.
So there's probably a issue of trying to figure out how to deal with that heat dissipation. Like I almost wonder if they're going to have to incorporate some of that Apple tech with like the liquid cooling at some point internally to deal with it, because this is a sidebar, but you know, you talked about me getting the external battery, which I did get, and you said you just leave yours on. I don't love that because it uses the internal battery first, so it's always charging in your hand while you're shooting, and the handle gets doubly warm. And I was like, I don't like this. This isn't fun. The handle's already hot, and I'm outdoors, and I don't need this to fail on me while I'm on a client shoot. So I just popped it off and was like, I'll pop it on when I need it. So I think heat becomes an issue as you start to get to 8K, 60, you know, log footage. That may have been a holdup. Like there's just limitations where we're at technology-wise, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, and Insta360 has always had a greater issue on their thermals, because I can tell you from my X5 and X4 and 1R, those are all their 360 cameras that I've bought over the years. They all get hot. In fact, the X4 and X5 came with a thermal grip that kind of like gave you an extra 1/8 of an inch so that it didn't feel quite as hot, and it dissipated maybe some of the heat. But you're right. I mean, those things get hot, and I don't know. Yeah. You know, the use the internal first and then the battery second is just a DC power thing. You're never going to get away from that. You have to equalize the batteries. Yeah. So can't get away from that, but it does. You're totally right. It heats up that grip. I don't know. Has it been, other than feeling hot and maybe making you like OCD concerned, was it uncomfortable? Like, did it get to that point, or was it just like, ooh, I don't know about this?
It was more of like, I don't know if I'm going to have this shut down on me. You know, I've had that happen with like my Sony cameras, and then you're just like, I can't. Everything's happening, and you're like blowing on it. You're leaving the battery door open. You're swapping batteries. You're like, come on. Yeah. Like, so dude, and you can't do that with this because there's no battery door. So it's just like, I was like, I can't have it fail. I can honestly say in like 15 years of being heavily in the camera space, I never, and this is a weird, I'm sure I'm like in the minority here, never had an issue with overheating ever. In Los Angeles, I don't know if I just got lucky, if I was indoors, I never had an issue with overheating. So I would always watch these camera reviews and people would test it and go, oh my God, but this overheated at 60 minutes, or this overheated at 30 minutes, or this camera is no good because it does overheat. I was like, I don't ever have that issue. And then I was out in Miami shooting in July and immediately the FX3 and the A7S III cooked. Like
And then I was like, oh, okay, this is why thermals and an internal fan and like this is what we're talking about. So I'm fully with you. I had the other issue always is the GoPros when I would take them out skiing would freeze and those would die. But
interesting.
I get you on my my X5, the 360 camera. If I'm shooting, it gets warm to the touch. And so I'm with you. I get a little nervous every once in a while. Have you done any testing with the Insta360, the Luna Ultra, to see if it gives you any warning? Like, have you actually like been able to make it overheat and shut down?
I haven't. And I actually, one of my viewers requested that. They asked, and they said they had very specific parameters. And they're like, can you run that for 50 minutes at 4K 60 at 78 degrees? And I was like, my first response was, that seems like an extreme use case. Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about extreme use case? Well, but I was like, running for an hour at 4K 60, what are we doing? like I would never, ever do that in a professional setting. Yeah. I know enough podcasts and like interview setups that will deliver at 60, that will deliver at 4K, that almost feels like, could I do this for a high-end interview situation where, you know, two people are talking for an hour? I could get that, but I would, and I would think 60 would stress the sensor and the internals more than 30. Like that would get it to overheat faster than if you just did 4K 30. But I could understand that. I love taking a 4K 60 image down even into a 4K 30 timeline. I just feel like you get a very fluid, like it's like almost HDR, but not HDR obviously, but like in frame rate land. It's just a very interesting, I only like it for socials, but it's my weird launch outside of 24p or 2398 land. I actually just did it all this weekend by accident, but I ended up wanting it afterward for this shoot I did with the radio station. Yeah. Because every once in a while, it's really fun and nice to be able to put in that creamy slow-mo when you're doing one of those, you know, here we are out at this event, blah, 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 and the music's playing, and you like get people just dancing in slow-mo and stuff. And I'm like, so I was like, it was a happy accident. It never overheated. I mean, I was outside. I ran that thing. I didn't run it constant for sure, but I was outdoors for 3.5 hours, 80 plus degrees, and running and gunning all over the place. And I didn't even use up the whole internal battery. I think I still had like 40% left at the end of the night. So I didn't. It's awesome. It's so user friendly. And, you know, I'm not going to go into it. What we talked about, how great it is to have this little light gimbal in a crowd where you're by yourself and you're like, I'm going to trip. If I was doing a Ronin and trying to back up into a crowd, I would have died. Yeah. There was cables running everywhere. It was a live music event, but having this and just be able to do it and not even pay attention to the camera and just go, it was like, this is next level. I love this. It's a great for a one-man band setup. But the other piece of this that you kind of just quietly dumped on me and you didn't do a video about also is that all of a sudden DJI dropped their lawsuit against Insta. Yep, they did. That's quietly. Huge. It's not a shock, but it also is not what I saw the outcome being. But I've got some theories, no substantiated proof on any of this. Sure. But it is interesting that they chose. I did not think that the patents that they were claiming on Insta360's side or DJI side were going to hold up, because GoPro, I think 2 or 3 years ago, 2021, sued Insta360 for patent infringement. GoPro, I feel like, would have a bigger claim in the United States, if anything, just as like, not legally, just a fan favorite. They're a U.S. company with U.S. patents. Like, you'd think they'd win. They lost to Insta360. So these two Chinese companies fighting it out in Texas, of all places, seemed like, okay, you're going to burn cash with lawyers fighting this, but okay, it's not going to go well. But I thought, all right, by the time we get a finding, it's going to be 2027 and we're going to be on the Pocket 6. Like, it's not going to matter. I was shocked that they dropped everything very quietly, just kind of withdrew both sides, because we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think
DJI initially, when Insta360 launched the Luna, the same day filed lawsuits against Insta360, and then the day after, Insta360 filed more lawsuits against DJI. So it's just been a fun legal fight between the two of them. So both of them withdrew. Apparently, both of them also just took their lawsuits to Asia, and now they're doing the same thing over in Asian courts, which I don't know anything about. But as I was researching what happened here, they just went over to duke it out over there. So it won't affect us at all. But interesting, just timeline-wise of all of this, DJI is really struggling to get these cameras over the finish line, any kind of normal launch. They've struggled with the marketing of this since the Cannes Film Festival when they said they were launching it. And then, you know, we've got this extra issue. They can't sell in the United States, so they've lost a bunch of money. And now Xtra is getting hit with fines. All these other corporations are getting hit with fines. You know, is this guys, we're running out of money here to fight these things? I don't know.
I don't know. I think what it boiled down to is what everybody's been saying is there's no merit in this. These form factors even though, you know, and someone's like, well, they came up with this. Yes, sure. But someone first came up with a box camera too. And every camera after that looked like that same form factor. They did come up with it, but the form factor is kind of have to be what it's going to be. And interestingly, it also says it showed something that you questioned in one of our streams. I can't remember when you brought it up. Like, weren't they supposed to have a Luna Pro that just never happened? And suddenly that's going to be released. Right? Because you said that had the most merit, at least in the form factor case.
Yeah, those two looked the most similar. Great segue here, by the way, man. You are crushing these points. But yeah, that's another thing on, I think it's newcamera.com. You can pull up the page to it and double check, fact check us. But they are claiming before November, which is, they've given themselves a long runway. At least they've kind of learned from DJI. Don't say it's coming out next week because you're going to struggle. But before November is, so we'll have that. I didn't do a whole deep dive on, is there like, of the specs on this, is there any selling point other than it may be cheaper?
I'm sure it's going to be cheaper. It also appears to have the same detachable screen setup. So it seems to have everything as the other camera, but just not the two lenses.
Yeah.
I don't think it does 8K. I didn't see anything on here about that. I'm looking right now, and I'll put this up. This will be, you guys are looking at it right now. What I can see, I'm going to share it on the screen.
My issue because Insta360 on both of their Ultra cameras don't have the same lo-fi chip that the Muse 2 Pro and the DJI is supposed to have. That would be killer. I wish DJI even gave us that option to buy the 4 with just a single lens with that chip in it, D-Log 2 and everything. If that was the Luna Pro, that might be something I would consider, just to get that kind of 17-ish stops of dynamic range, like that new chip would be very cool. But the fact that they don't have that tech in the Ultra, and it looks like they're probably not able to bring that kind of sensor into the Pro. It's cool. If you don't have one, it's a great, like you said, it's great as an option since we don't have the DJI lines, the 4 or the 4P. We'll see what happens with the Muse if we've got that. Now, the Muse 2, is that out yet? Do you know?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. So you're still stuck. If you want to buy a Pocket camera, you either get first generation Muse, which is the same as the Pocket 3, or you get the Luna Ultra. So you can go $300 or $800. Like, those are the only two factors that you get right now. That's wild. There's nothing in between right now for us. That's crazy.
Well, and the wild factor too, you know, like to your point earlier about Insta's prices are not shy. Their estimated price is $600 to $720 on the Pro. So now if I'm looking at $720 versus $770, I'm going to get the Ultra every time.
Yeah.
If it's $600, maybe, but that's pretty pricey. You know, it's tough. It does have the 4K 120, and it does have the 14 stops of dynamic range ish. There's a little Tyndall by it, so ish. I will say though, I have not that I need necessarily all that range all the time. Most of my stuff is shot in a controlled environment, but the low light capabilities of the Luna is very surprising. It's very good. Like, I'll put up a clip here because I've been using the Pure Video, which is their low light feature.
Yep.
It's cool. It does have some weird computational look. You know, it doesn't, you know, it's like an iPhone-y a little bit,
Right.
but the quality is like, wow. I mean, you can be in a very dark space and you're like, it reminds me of back in the day when Sony had that, what was that one that was like, you could shoot it at like 128,000 ISO or something. And
well, that's what I'm shooting on right now. The FX3 and the A7S3 both are
A7S3, that's it.
Insane low light. It's the
Insane
same
low light.
sensor. It's the same sensor. They're incredible cameras. I mean, it's why the FX3 is still untouchable, really, in the market. And Sony and Nikon Canon and Nikon have both tried. My issue. So you've only been shooting the low light in their Pure Video mode?
So I just tested it because I went back to the zoo because my favorite, we talked about the dynamic range at the zoo is wild. You know, you go to these nocturnal exhibits and then you're full outdoors. And I went into the nocturnal exhibit and I just shot it and I was like, this is doing pretty darn good. And I didn't tell it to do anything. And I was still even shooting at manual settings. And I was like, this shot I'm putting up right now, it was like this porcupine, and it looks all red, but it was red lighting because it's supposed to be nocturnal. Right. The detail is there. I don't see much noise. I was like, I don't know how they're doing it. So, you know, that Luna Pro could still be a very compelling camera for a lot of people. The Ultra is much more a creator camera. And it's probably, I think if I'm Insta360, I'm thinking of the Luna Pro as the one to get people. Like they're going, oh, that's a lot of money, but I will spend $600. Then they've bought it, and then the next holiday they're like, "Oh, I'm getting that now."
Yep,
it's
exactly.
The gateway drug. So
the one that I don't know, we didn't even get to talk about this, and this could ramble us on, but the one that I'm excited about, I don't know if you even saw this yet, is that the X6 is teased as well.
I did see that on
the 360 camera
at the newcamera.com. Yep. Yeah, and it's shorter and stubbier, but I think somebody already was like, I am concerned about heat already.
Well, but DJI did it. I mean, what's interesting is this, because I'm looking at it right now too. We can have it on the screen, I'm sure, but like this looks like they took the X5 and the DJI 360 camera and just kind of smashed it together. This would be actually, because my biggest complaint about the X5 has always been the form factor is really tall and heavy for a 360 camera. This is like perfect.
It's money, and that screen is better than the one on the DJI. I like the DJI one, but for some reason they went with like a 16:9 screen, and it's like, but this is a 360 cam. Like, show me everything. It's an odd. But that being said, and I don't know about these, can you also just shoot them in single lens mode like it's a GoPro?
So and I can't. I have not dug into what the specs would be on the X6, but I can speak to the X5 and the 4.
Yeah.
Both of those have some really impressive magic when it comes to single lens mode. So you get up resolution on a single lens. We had this discussion, Jake and I, on our podcast, which is 360 cameras are the only place, and you guys can roast me in these comments too, please. I'm not the guy who needs the highest resolution. I think 8K generally is pretty silly unless you have a very small use case for it.
Yeah.
But 360 cameras, I'm completely the opposite, and I think that 8K is not actually enough for me. I'm like, can I get 12K? That's the only time. I don't need the Pixis 12K to shoot 12K, but I need my Insta360 to shoot 12K. And my only argument to that is when the 8K is the full 360.
Right.
So you think then when you crop that down, you're sub 4K to a normal frame. And if you need to zoom that in at all, now you're 1080.
Right.
And that's just, I love my 360 cameras, but I would love to reframe it and still have a clean 4K image. And I feel like the only way I get there to really be a professional use for social media, it's still my go-to camera because you're only seeing that stuff on a phone at 1080 best case anyway. It's amazing. But if you want to cut it into your YouTube video and you want to deliver your YouTube video at 4K, it's going to look like 1080 footage in 4K unless you do some serious up-resing to it. So that's my only time where I'm like, man, if you could give me a little bit more resolution on these cameras, it would be cool.
That's a very good use case, and I would agree with you. That makes sense, especially because you start to forget. You know, when you're playing around in the editing software, I use the DJI 360 cam. You're like you're starting to zoom in on stuff, and you're not thinking about like, oh, I am just going hard on this, and I'm going to get this all mushy. But it's like I like what's over here. I want to zoom in over there. Yeah. So having a 12K.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. Right. That would be a very useful use case for that. Well, if you scroll down from that on that same website, you'll see that's where the drone is.
Oh, I'm literally just on the page with the camera. So I'm like
sorry.
literally looking at all these pictures of that. But even just assuming that you're right, and I can look to it, you know, it's like we need that. I just would love to see more than just Insta360 in the competitive space to it. GoPro, now is your chance to do the Karma 2, and it makes more sense to call it Karma now with all these Chinese companies copying them.
Yeah, you know, and being banned.
Right. Yeah. You know, here's our Karma drone. It just
for you.
Like a little rubber middle finger to DJI.
Well, I'll be curious how this one does, because it doesn't look as robust as the DJI Neo. I don't know what's in there. The Neo 2 is a surprisingly capable little drone. You can do a lot with it. The only problem is you will burn up that battery fast. It is not a long flight time.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but I'm always just a quick shot guy anyway. I don't need long flights. It's like, I want that shot, and I'm done. But if you're somebody who's serious about drone work, that's not going to have enough gas. You take it to the beach, and it is working overtime to fight that ocean breeze. But it does
especially these. I can't remember what they're called, but these Cinewhoop. I think they're Cinewhoops. That body style. That are kind of protected in. Yeah, you're fighting the wind hard with those body styles. I'm looking at it now, so I see it's cool. It looks to me to be one of those like selfie drone styles.
It does.
Where you can put it up and you put your hand up and then it just follows you and you can go on your jog. It's doesn't look to be the replacement to the Mavic, which is just. No. I was telling one of the people on my YouTube comments, was like, man, it's sad to me, but I have the Mavic 2. I think. And like, I have not bought another high-end drone. I have the, the Mini 3 Pro, which it's good enough. It's 4K 60, and a 1.2 inch sensor. It's great, but I've wanted that, the Mavic 4 that we just don't have here. So that's, man, I would just love a higher end cinema drone.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of which one Brent has. I don't know. He's got that Mavic that's got the 3 camera cluster on the front.
It's amazing. The Hasselblad partnership. Yeah, great.
That camera is sick. We took it out to the baseball game. It was unbelievable, the shots we were able to get, even from a distance. I'm blown away by that. So it would be hard to upgrade that. It's like, how do you? What more can you do?
What more do you need?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like what we were talking about last week. It's like when you get to that point in your kit where you can comfortably just say, every need that I have is fit. I don't feel like I need the next thing. That's a really dangerous and beautiful place to be. The marketing teams don't love you that much, but that's a great spot to be.
That was probably part of the issue that GoPro is facing. Is that their cameras were good enough. I didn't have to buy it every year. I'd keep that one and run it for 4 years. And then they're like, oh, okay, that feature's pretty good. I'll buy that one. that's not sustainable for a company like GoPro. Like they need you to kind of be buying every year the upgrade.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of we talked about this before too, the downfall of all these cameras that have internal batteries. Like they're kind of disposable. It's just not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Same with the microphones. There's no way we're doing external power to that little microphone system. You know, this little microphone system. Yeah, but they're cheap. That's the problem.
So here's the one one of the problems with the Insta360 removable screen. As cool as it is right now,
yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens in 2 years when, like you said, you don't even, like, I don't understand how they could even fit a battery in that tiny little screen on top of a microphone, on top of a wireless transmitter. Like, they did a great job.
Yeah.
But in 2 years, when you've charged it and drained it and charged it and drained it, like, how are those going to hold up? We'll see. The brilliant part would be if you tell me for $50 you can replace that screen. Like, that's what they should do, right?
I feel like that will be an option. I mean, they're going to have to do that because people are going to break them. They're going to get smashed. Because they're going to be doing stuff and it's going to go flying off a roller coaster. They're going to have to sell replacement screen, whatever you call that.
They should. They don't have to. And Insta360, I will say, here's like the bad taste in my mouth from Insta360. And clearly it hasn't stuck because I've bought more of their stuff. I don't know if you were following it as much as I was. The first 360 camera that they came out with, I believe, was the 1R. And they sold this thing to me. I was such a believer, I pre-ordered it. And you know my stances on pre-order. But they sold it as this incredible modular camera. And they sold it to consumers saying, you can break this piece apart. So when we come out with a new sensor, you just click your new sensor in. When we come out with a new brain, you just click your new brain in. And we're going to come out with all these modular pieces. Gone are the days where you have to buy a whole new camera. We're doing the first modular camera. And I thought what a cool idea. That literally,
it is a cool idea.
I don't have to. It's almost this interchangeable lens concept of where if everything else is working on the camera and I just want that 1-inch sensor, now I just buy the 1-inch sensor and pop it on. I think they found out after a year that they made it too good and people aren't going to buy the camera anymore. They'll just buy the little add-ons. So they totally got rid of it. There's no, they never made a real V2 or stuff. They made a whole new one modular camera, changed all the pieces so it didn't fit my original 1R, and then it was gone. And I was like, oh, man, I love that concept of modularity and upgrade the pieces you need. As a consumer, that's the most brilliant part. As a company, I guess it's hard to make a lot of money that way.
Well, it seems like it should work. It's sort of like the razor blade model. You know, we'll give you the handle for $6. The razor blades are $20 for 4 or whatever it is.
Exactly.
You know, and so we sold you the camera. I don't think they're going to sell you that screen for $50, but maybe it's $100. I don't know, $125. It's still cheaper than the new camera. It seems like there should be a model there that works for them, but
yeah,
I see the problem.
This I see replacement parts work better than a modular camera idea where in my mind, I'm never going to buy another 360 camera. I legitimately bought into this camera thinking this is going to be my one camera and I'll just spend $50 to $100 every year and kind of upgrade to the newest piece, but I'll never have to buy another camera. That was stupid. That was naive of me to think that this company was totally looking out for me.
They probably were, but they just realized it wasn't going to be in any way profitable.
Exactly. They were looking out to me right to the end of my wallet. And they said, wait a second. Okay, that was enough. We were looking out for you for 35 seconds. We got your money. On to the next one.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Well, we're going to try something else.
Yep.
Well, thank you for sharing that story and that cautionary tale. We will not fall for that one again.
Fair warning. Yeah. Every time somebody sells you you'll never have to buy it again. You probably will.
You probably will. We'll just make something so great you'll have to buy the next one.
Exactly. I'm okay with that. Make something so great that I have to upgrade. I'll give you my money.
Fair enough. Well, Colton, thank you again so much for taking the time to share with us all the insights on this latest drop. I can't wait to put this one up so everybody can get in on the conversation.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Go leave us your thoughts in the comments too.
Please do. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.